Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make almond croissants, and this is what they look like. What we have is a croissant with a nice layer of almond cream on top with some shaved almonds, and then inside we have another layer of almond cream. So the first thing you need to do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 180 degrees Celsius, and then let me just start by saying these are just so good. I mean, really good. And they are so easy to make because we are starting with croissants that are already made. Now, you could use homemade, and I do have a recipe on the site on how to make homemade croissants, as well as a video, or you could just use store-bought. And in fact, we're using croissants that are a little stale, at least a day old, maybe 2-3 days old. And so if you're not using homemade, you could maybe go to your local bakery and see if maybe they'll sell you some, maybe at a reduced price, which would be good. But so this recipe will give you 6 almond croissants. As you will see as we go along, you could scale this up or down very easily. The first thing you need to do is take your croissant, and then what we want to do is slice it, but not all the way through, because we want to close it up once we put our almond cream in there. So just, almost through. And then just put them on a baking sheet. I've lined it with a piece of parchment paper, or you could just, lightly butter or spray your pan. And then the first thing, because we're using the croissants are a little dry because they're a few days old, what we're going to do is make a sugar syrup. I'm using a rum flavored sugar syrup. And what you will need is just a small saucepan. I'm just making a little bit of sugar syrup. You will need 1/4 cup, 60 grams of just regular tap water. And then you want an equal amount, 1/4 cup, 50 grams of granulated white sugar. And then what we're going to do is just bring that to a boil, and then you just want to make sure that your sugar has dissolved. Okay, so it's to a boil, and it should be clear. You want all your sugar to be dissolved. And then, because that's really hot, I don't want to add the rum yet. So what I'm going to do is just let that cool down a little. And then when we come back, we will start our almond cream. So now for our almond cream, also known as frangipane. If you have an electric stand mixer like I have here, use your paddle attachment. You could use a hand mixer, or really you could just do it in a bowl with a wire whisk. The first thing you need is 1/2 cup, 113 grams of butter. You can use, I like to use unsalted butter. You could use salted, and have it at room temperature. And then I'm just going to beat that just until it's nice and smooth. And then just add 1/2 cup, 100 grams of granulated white sugar. And I'm just going to beat that a minute or two just to get it mixed together, and a little bit of air in there. Looks good. And as always, scrape down the sides and the bottom of your bowl as much as you need to get everything all mixed together. And then we're going to add 1 large egg. Out of the shell, that would weigh about 55 grams. And you want your egg at room temperature. And then for flavoring, I like to add, because we're kind of doing a rum thing here, I like to add 1 teaspoon, which is about 4 grams of rum. You could use a brandy, or you could just leave it out if you don't want any alcohol. And then I'm also adding 1/2 teaspoon, 2 grams of pure vanilla extract. Again, if you don't want to add your vanilla, you can leave it out. And I'm just going to beat that in. And then Of course, it's an almond cream. We need some almonds. So you will need 1 cup, 115 grams of ground almonds. Now you could, and this is what they look like, just really finely ground. You can buy ground almonds, usually either in the baking aisle or sometimes in the health food section of your grocery store, or health food stores. You can always find them. If not, I mean, really, you can just take some almonds and put them in your food processor and grind them, process them until finely ground. Just be careful you don't grind them until they become a paste. So either way, so you need 1 cup, 115 grams, and then you will need some flour, 3½ tablespoons, which is 30 grams of an all-purpose flour. You may know that as a plain flour. And then I'm just going to add, a pinch of salt, about 1/8 of a teaspoon, just to bring out all those flavors. And I'm just going to beat that in. And that's simple enough. Now the good thing about this, you could make your almond cream, a day or two ahead of time, just have it in the fridge. You also can freeze it. Same with your sugar syrup. You could make that, up a week ahead of time and just store it in the fridge. So it's one of those things you can kind of have on hand, and then, whenever the mood strikes to have an almond croissant, you can easily make them. So I'll just put this in here, and we're ready to go. So now to assemble, I have my sugar syrup. It has cooled down, so now I'm going to add about, you can vary this. I find around a tablespoon, 10 grams of rum. Again, you could use rum, you could use a brandy, some other type of alcohol. You could use some, put vanilla if you don't want. You don't have to flavor your sugar syrup. What a sugar syrup does is it moistens our croissants to make them nice and fresh again. So if you don't want alcohol, you can leave it out. You can use some other type of flavoring, a little bit of like orange juice, something like that. So you can kind of vary it. And also you're going to need some shaved almonds to sprinkle over the top. So now it's kind of an assembly line thing. So you take a pastry brush and just brush your croissants, both sides, with your syrup. These ones are not, I think they're only about a day old. They're not too stale. So I'm just doing a light coating of the sugar syrup. You might want, if they're really stale, you might want to do more. And then I put about, I'm going to just, depending on the size of your croissants, you want a thin layer of almond cream. For this size croissant, I find 2 tablespoons of almond cream, which is about 30 grams. Again, so just spread, a layer. I'd say thin or thick, depending on what you want. Like so, as you can see that. And then, if you want, sometimes I like to put a few almonds. I was also thinking, you could put a little chocolate chips in there, chocolate chunks. Haven't tried that, but I think that would be good. And then what you want to do is take about another tablespoon, about 15 grams of almond cream, and just spread a thin layer over top. Like so. And then just take some of your almonds and sprinkle over the top. And so as I said, you could do, if you just want to do one for yourself, or what we're going to do, I'm just going to continue on and do the other 5. Okay, so looks good. And a few more almonds. So now we're going to bake these, depending on your oven, somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes. So what we want to do is we want the almond cream to be baked on top, to be nice and firm. And you will also see it'll start to brown a little on the top. So here's our almond croissants all baked, aren't they gorgeous? So now what we're going to do, can't eat them right away because they're a little hot. I'm going to let them cool down to room temperature, and when we come back we will try one. Okay, so now our almond croissants have cooled down to room temperature. For serving, I like to just dust the top with some powdered sugar. It's very pretty. And then actually, you know, you can serve these a little warm. You can serve them room temperature, or, you know, I find them really good. You can cover and store them overnight in the fridge for, well, actually for a day or two, and I find they're really good cold. So, as you can see, you got the almond cream on top, and then, oh, inside. Wow. What can I say? That's sweet almond cream. And then, you know what's happened is, because we baked these, the croissants have got nice and crisp on the outside, nice and flaky inside again. It's kind of like brought them back to life. So, I mean, they're wonderful. You know, of course you're not going to eat these every day. But if you're having someone come stay the night, it's something that you can make really fast in the morning, and everyone will just love them. So until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.